the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any other things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 Hey, yeah. I am light. I am light. I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. All light. All light. Yeah. All light. I am light. I am light. I am light. Yeah. I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
I am light. I am light. I am the God on the inside. Oh, my goodness. I'm going to do a sound check. Welcome, welcome, welcome to ReBirth Sunday with women who are growing forth in Goddess and becoming the priestess of their own household, community, and, of course, rising to the throne that we have been decrowned this Sunday morning. All right, I'm gonna start again. Just want to check in to make sure that you can hear me. Dawn, can you hear me? Okay, and did you hear the introduction?
I did, and yes, I can hear you fine now.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all for your patience. I'm not sure at some points whether it is the user platform, which operates super slow sometimes, and I'm sure it's because it has so many hosts. And it's so funny because when I get really comfortable with the platform, technology usually has it that they change. Technology never stays the same. There's always upgrades, updates, certain new servers and such to every platform. Plus, they are also a brand. So it's possible that something else has changed yet again with this platform. So thank you for your patience as well, not to mention any other technology challenges I'm experiencing in this area. That being said, I look at all of these things as messages, as opportunities to see how bad do you want it? How bad are you? How committed are you? What are your back doors? You know, there have been so many times I could have just said forget it, especially when I was living abroad in Costa Rica. But not really. Like I could have said it, but not really. because my assignment, my commission is bigger than even me. So again, we're activating our metaphysical superpowers, and we are sharing in this space. So I'll share with you, and you will share with me, my beloved. So this morning we're going to jump right on into the manna, because many of us have been operating at times on spiritual baby food. And so we wonder why we keep trying to grow up in God. God is all that is, yet we still have some very immature responses that sometimes we're not even happy with. And it's beyond the cross. It's beyond the how many times you make SELAH. It's beyond how well you can chant, although chanting does have a powerful place. All of these things have a powerful place in our existence, but it depends on what powers inside of yourself you're seeking to access. And when we have one set of keys that access one property, but God said, in my house there are many mansions. You know that there must be a room that has been prepared for you. So if there's many mansions, there has to be doors. If there are doors, then there are different access points and ways to enter into them in consciousness and in spirit. So today you come to experience and to express another form of consciousness. So today we are introducing your superpower that you can activate for the month of March on this, still on the heels of this full moon in Virgo. Virgo is the energy of attention to details, the healer, the Mother Earth, whereas Cancer is the nurturing waters of Earth. Virgo is the Mother Earth, and so she is very symbolic of healing, of attention to detail, of order, provision. And so this season that we're already in is a get your business in order type of season. And when you do from the inside out, our manifestation is quantum, our healing is quantum. So let's go right into, this is considered really, I remember last month I told you that we were kind of not technically out of order because the law of correspondence is considered the second law in the 7 Hermetic principles. However, we're not going in the Hermetic principles order, but I do want you to know it because you may read it somewhere. So I wanted to jump right back into it, and then by April we'll be right back in alignment with the first 7 of the Hermetic principles, and that is as above, so below. This is called the law of correspondence, as above, so below. This is a truth that there is harmony, there is agreement, there is correspondence from the inside and the outside, from the top and the bottom. It is what we call the mirroring experience. And this is why we say in this type of spiritual technology that you do with me that relationships are mirrors. All relationships are mirrors. You see only in others what is inside of you. When you begin to see with different eyes, you begin to also experience a different reality. Sometimes we are so fixed on what we're looking at that we refuse to look at anything else. Religion will do that to you as well because it will shame you, guilt you, and make you afraid that if I look at anything else that I will be punished, that a spirit can enter in. But what spirit can enter into you that is not of you? And so this is a truth because all that is included in the universe, and it emanates from the same source, the same laws, the same principles. Beyonce is under the same universal law that you are. She just uses them inside of herself differently. Tina Turner, depending on your generation, probably shared some of the same experiences in love and poverty that you experienced, but she accessed them differently. Now, they are called stars for a reason because everyone has their own guiding star. But Hollywood is actually an actual wood used to cast particular spells, but there are many types of heroes and sheroes that are all around us that are unsung, much like the men and women in the Bible that were powerful, just like you. And so my point is, a lot of times when we look to T.D. Jakes and even me, Lord, you know, the word says, therefore the grace of God go I. So we use that to look at the trial, the tribulation, and when someone misfortune falls on them. But Lord, have mercy. What if you used it? We used it when we see something good happening in the life of someone that we adore, that we admire, that we can say, therefore the grace of God go I as well, because there is correspondence in understanding the law. Even this plays a role in our psychology, because the full text of the law of correspondence says, as above, so below, as within, so without. The above refers to the heavens and the macrocosm, or the word soul, while below refers to the earth, the physical plane, the microcosm, the human soul. Remember, this is the perfect time to talk about something like this, because Virgo is about attention to details. And so the without is the outer reality, what we call real life. Real life is the outer reality. It's the projection of whatever is going on in the mind of the collective. And that is why when we begin to heal our mind, when we say things like the planet is awakening and I'm awakening, if I manage my own awakening, you manage your own awakening. You teach your children. You share it with your beloveds, your husband, and those who want to be. Then the law of correspondence says basically, as within, so without, as above, so below, and then there becomes this energy of what we often look for as harmony. But so the same is true when it comes to chaos. And this is why we say in this, and you may hear something in this work that says feedback is neutral, and your life is always giving you feedback. But when we have been conditioned by church and institutional and colonized minds to think that something is good or bad, then we fall into the place of trying to get it right, trying to prove on the outside. And so, again, this outer reality is the realm in which we live, we eat, we pay bills, we meet deadlines, we interact with others. We might think of the without as our landscape, while the within would be our dreamscape, our imagination, our psychology. Carl Jung called this the inner world that we are in. We all exist in an inner world. And while we open with the song, I am light, you must know that I also am dark. I am light and I am dark. And if you are melanated, you must begin to embrace the dark sides of you, because the dark side does represent the womb, as we talked about on Wednesday in Good Girls Gone Goddess. As we when we began to decode Black Panther and the feminine energy of the goddess Bass that we see in this movie, because the shadow side, the ego self, or the inner characters is AKA the inner me. They are all corresponding with what it is you believe. And so when you want to begin to shift your outer reality, you check in on what you've been taught to believe. First, you look at what you believe about God. Then you look at what you believe about yourself. Then you start to ask questions, well, who taught me that? Well, who taught them that? Where did that come from? And this is where the word says, study and show thyself approved. And so who are you waiting to show thyself to? You're not waiting to show thyself approved to fit into any circle. You're not waiting to show thyself approved to have sex. You're not waiting to show thyself approved to be married. You're not waiting to show thyself approved to be pregnant. You are not waiting to show thyself approved to be sexy and beautiful and healed. And you are not waiting. You are to study and show thyself approved, to give yourself degrees of understanding, understanding, and overstanding. We have been taught to go to school, to the outer realm, to receive our degrees. But now you see a new school is really not new. It is the mystery school that of old. Our ancient teachers, master teachers, ascended masters knew that a day was coming where there would be a fall of man, and that man would basically degenerate him or herself through the ego mind over the centuries. And so that's why we can point back to a transatlantic slave experience that has been fabricated and exaggerated to some degrees, because our memory has been wiped clean of who we were. And so we have to go back and ask, who were we before the transatlantic slave? Okay, and then when you find out, then you have to say, well, who were we before then? And then it takes you back when there was the Greeks was started to become interested in what was happening in Kemet, and they planned an overthrow. These are not mythological stories. The Greeks get all of their information from what the scientists of that day allowed to be found, and so it's been broken up. So when you're coming into this knowledge, you are pulling the pieces back together of you again that already know this. You already know it. Your DNA knows it. Your DNA knows it because when you go out, you know, I had a sister, hopefully she'll get a chance to share her testimony personally. She said that she thought that she was so dirty that every time after she even masturbated, that she felt so much sin, because that's what the church had taught her. She felt like she was so sinful. And that even though she was walking and calling herself free because she had left the church, she was not free because the bondage thinking was still in her, and it showed up in her marriage. It showed up in her relationships. It shows up. See, you can't just walk away. The walking away is the exodus in the Bible. Everybody must experience an exodus of something. It is required. If you look at the books of the Bible, even though they're out of order, they tell the story of the phases of your own life. And since we're mentioning the Bible, I might as well go, because remember, I'm giving you also a correspondence in Bible that can help you to see some of these things. So now that we've moved up to the third area, and we fall right in line, one of the ways that you can see this is through discernment, right? And James is representative of this discernment. And it is a power that sits in the solar plexus. And so this is your sense of self. And I want to go a little bit more, because James was James the Just. He was called by historians as James the Just. Now, when we study the Apostle James's metaphysicians, we learn that there is more than to James. James was also considered to be a physician. And so he definitely is going to come from the place of healing, but he represents wisdom, justice, judgment. They're all grouped under spiritual consciousness, but somehow wisdom, justice, and judgment became something where we judge one another, and we have man judging us. But when we look at Solemn, or the solar plexus, Solemn represents the solar plexus man. When asked by the Lord, he said, well, what should he give him? Whose wisdom above riches and honor? Then all other things would be added. Solomon was known as a great judge, but guess who wisdom was for Solomon in the Bible? When he talked about wisdom, he talked to the woman. Wisdom was a she. Wisdom was a woman. That was an indicator right there, but we look past that part because nobody told us to stop there. And so when our judgment is thrown off, when we start to judge menial and minor things, we cannot have discernment on the larger things, and it's easy for us to spend lifetimes hoodwinked and stuck on stupid, but stuck on baby food. And so there is a law that begins to happen. And if you get a chance, check out the 12 Powers of Man, because these faculties, when Jesus spoke about the disciples, when we look at the disciples, he's speaking to a part of his body, a part of his mind, and a part of his own spirit. Again, we've been conditioned to look outside, but when you understand that the 12 disciples represents the 12 planets, the 12 disciples also represent the 12 faculties inside of us, in the body part, the human system, which is really 9, but usually three are added. So you see, this thing is cosmic, it's codified, it's symbolism, and it's important for us to take what our understanding is beyond Bible study. But beyond Bible school, and into the cosmic school of knowing, so that when life happens, you can run it through the law. You can say, wait a minute, how did this come nigh my dwelling? Why is this showing up? Why am I thinking this thought? This is very important, and we'll go into it all month, because you've got to understand that the ancients and the medieval proponents of this law they considered planes of reality, the physical plane, the mental plane, the spiritual plane, and it's distinguished by different rates of vibration. And so the lowest, the slowest, and the densest plane is the physical world, the world of paying bills, the world of what we eat, the world of what we think that is survival. That is the lowest and the densest vibration. And so we sing songs like I Am Light to trigger a lighter version. This is why Jesus is one of the best light workers to look at, because of the way that he was able to transform himself. And so the way that he was able to use the light consciousness. But he had to enter into his shadow. That's what the Garden of Gethsemane represents. That's what the resurrection represents, the crucifixion. And because there are times inside of us where we must crucify the old thoughts. We have to rise up beyond the first word and into the 7 last words. Into the 7 last words, he says, into thy hands I commit my spirit. And so many of us, we don't want to rise up. We want to look around and see who's in the temple with us. We want to see who's watching us. And then when the bitter cup comes, we say we want to pass this bitter cup by me. I don't want to take a drink from the bitter. But sometimes you have to, in order for the medicine to work. And the medicine is in the process of doing your own work, and it's not really finished. Usually it's when he says it is finished, it looks like death. That's the point when you give up, when you stop trying to do it your way and think your thoughts over and over again as though they are true. In understanding this law, it is really important to understand the unity of all things. And so we have been taught that we are separate from God. And so we have race consciousness, gender consciousness, and all these things that separate. That's why when you look on my Facebook page, a lot of times I'm not posting this bandwagon stuff, because it takes you into the direction of the separate consciousness, when the truth is there is an elevated way to look at all of this stuff. I'm not saying that it's not happening, but do I want to tap into that dense vibration, or do I want to go higher? It doesn't mean that I'm better, but I want to create a life based off of what I focus on. And then we'll get into the law of attraction. Everybody loves the law of attraction that says what I focus on grows. I promise you, if you, for the remainder of this Lenten season, if you did nothing but give up the news, Notice your addiction to it. If you gave up the news and checked the weather from your phone, or literally you can set up something to send you alerts on the weather. If there was something that you give your attention to a lot of, if you made this Lent about visiting different ways to worship, including nature, the Buddhist temple, another faith altogether, can you experience God beyond the way that you have inherited? And when you do, when you allow yourself to do it, you begin to operate in correspondence. Because when you see that you still have this whole experience of yourself in other circumstances, you'll begin to see that it's really within you. And so I know every law sounds like it's always talking about is in you, but there's different gradations and variations of it, because these planes help us in our manifestation. And so we're going to go more into the law of correspondence. Of course, you can always read on your own. We've talked already about the law of vibration, which typically follows correspondence, but that's okay. Correspondence is still on time. And so in introducing this, I want to open up the lines now to take any questions. I'm sorry, not any questions, but any ahas that you may have, any ways that you can see the law of correspondence happening. For instance, let me give you another example. Sometimes, ladies, we don't understand the premortal connection to our experience. We think that things just happen, or there's a disassociative quality of our womb experience. You look at yourself and, you may make a decision. I don't want to be like a certain parent or a certain person in your household. But you find that the one that you declared that you're not going to be like, you have certain attributes and things that begin to show up. Because on another level of mastery, we are the ones, you most of the time are the one that was called to awaken. You would not be on this kind of call. You would not be coaching with me if you are coaching with me. You would not be in this kind of community to stay. Many people come and they do this work and they go back to the church. I'm going to tell you something. I'm not saying you got to leave the church, but they go back into churchianity. They go back into religiosity, and then they get confused or they wonder why certain things shut down. It's because when you start opening up certain planes of knowingness, it's hard to go back to belief. See, most people are believers. Believers is the absence of knowledge. So you believing, most of us have been trained to be believers. You just accept it because I am the chosen authority to tell you. No, I'm telling you, go study. I'm telling you, go break open, crack open whenever you hear references to certain things, because there's only so much one can do in a space of an hour or a time. And this is why I have the programs with ReBirth International that I do. It's levels to this. And I'm excited about meeting everyone on their level. But trust and believe that you are never disassociated from your bloodline. And that is why we acknowledge the ancestors and the stuff that they do. This is why when you saw in Black Panther, in order for the brother to come back into kingship, in order for him to get the powers of the Panther that he needed in order to defeat his own bloodline, it was happening on the dense level. He had the on the dense level. Come on now, you've had opposition from your own bloodline sometimes. Sometimes it's the person that you give your body to that seems like it's the opposition. But he had to go and face his ancestor on the other plane and call his ancestor on his stuff. You omitted some details. How many of us come from families that keep secrets? And if you had known what you know now about your family, you might have chosen a different course of action. Or maybe you still are in the dark and you've been out here navigating in this world, bumping into things because we were only taught how to pay bills. We were only taught how to get out of our mother's house so we won't have to ask nobody for nothing. All of these are pathological teachings that are in the collective consciousness of melanated people. We are a tribal people. We are a communal people, and we communicate on several different planes. The cosmos is my community. Hello? The universe is me. I am a representative of the planets. Every organ is a representative, and so when I speak life, I'm speaking to Jupiter. I'm speaking to Saturn. I'm speaking in the deities. They all connect. But we've been taught just to focus on one. The way, the light, and the truth is what we've been taught. And there is no other way. And that is man's interpretation. That is the lie that the church must deal with. And now you hear the Pope saying that there is other ways. And you hear the Pope saying things like it would be better to be an atheist than to be a poor Christian. Why is the Pope saying things like this stuff has been true? Do you think that they're sitting on texts that have never been released? You all know that they had to burn certain texts so that the knowledge wouldn't be passed on. If you're a Christian and you haven't studied the Gnostics, Gnostics, you must get you a copy of the Gnostic Bible. You must know the omitted books of the Bible. Why? And ask the question, why were they omitted? Because the Gnosticism, Jesus was a Gnostic. Jesus was an esoteric. He said, I didn't come to teach you the law. You already know that. I came to be the fulfillment of the law. Then he said, greater things that I am doing, you can do it too. Well, if he came to be the fulfillment of the law, then that means you must come to be the fulfillment of the law. We must be the fulfillment of the law. What law? Universal law. That is your superpower. And now the lines are open. Anyone have anything? If it's your first time joining, oftentimes we've been conditioned to come into the space and just tiptoe in with one finger up. Come on, let me just take my seat and get my word, and let me tip on back out. Let me go come in and get my dance and get my shout, give my money, and I don't have to. But see, tithing is not just money. Tithing is energy. And when you begin to, and if you know that money is energy, if you're in a part of my She Magic process, you already know that money is energy. And so when you're looking to manifest abundance, and you come onto, some of y'all been coming on the call for so many years, and you don't say nothing, and then you tell me as if it's a compliment. No. I love that you are here. But I love on you more when you can share, because you all have spiritual gifts and you get downloads. And when my word activates something inside of you, your belly may jump. You may get chills. You may say, you might have an aha moment. Or you may have a question that opens up inside of you. All of it is a sharing space here on ReBirth Sunday. So that is why I opened the lines for the new people, so that you can add your spice to this recipe. Anyone have something that opened up for them?
Good morning. This is Tommy. I have a question. May I?
Sure.
My question is, we had, speaking of the cosmos, and I didn't get a chance to look it up, but, we had this windstorm. And so I was wondering if you could shed any light on which goddess represents the wind.
Well, I want to take questions related to the law of correspondence if I'm going to take questions. I know y'all like for me to teach on that kind of thing, but I really want the ones of you that's been around, y'all know we have to hold the space for what we hold in the space for. Do you think that's fair?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Ask that question in Good Girls Gone Goddess, where we can have open dialogue and communication.
Okay.
There may be someone who's learning right now and need to ask a question about the law of correspondence.
Certainly.
Or you may have heard something in what I shared already this morning. Anyone else? Oh, now y'all scared. Tommy made y'all scared to share what opened up or what you heard.
No, Sister Latanya is Vanessa. I can tell you something.
Okay.
When I'm doing this, it's been really difficult to trust that these answers are inside of me, and I think these calls help me to accept that there are answers that I can access. I think for so many years I was like, I can't access. How do I access that without something on the outside? Even though I've had little miracles happen along the way, I still didn't believe it. And it's starting to click that I can access it from inside a little old me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. And this is why Scripture says faith comes by hearing. And that's exactly why I created this space, because I know that, I used to coach anybody. I used to just accept anybody that need coach or counsel until I started to design my programs for people at different levels. And Spirit led me to do this because we need to always have a place where we can continue to hear these things to stay on the journey. Because literally this world is built around distractions. If y'all could ever listen to the lady Sophia Stewart who created the work of the Matrix, if y'all think that I'm deep, Lord have mercy. This woman, she speaks as though she is not even, really from this planet. She's high, and so the Matrix is such a representation of the distractions. The agents are a representation. And if most of you know the story of the Matrix, or you've seen the Matrix, and you might have just taken it as entertainment. But there was a time when Morpheus came to Neo and told Neo he was the one, which is really what Neo, the word, and when you understand codes and symbology, words oftentimes in movies do, like people are saying, I know Wakanda is fictional. Wakanda is not fictional. The language that they spoke is not fictional. They spell things differently so that they can get the movie considered to be fictional. Because if a movie is, you use the real thing, it gets categorized as something else, same as a book. And so the same is true when it comes to the Matrix. Neo, when Morpheus went to him, he didn't know what the hell Neo was talking about. Morpheus was talking about. He was like, what? What are you talking about? And Morpheus was telling him, you've been studying. You've been on the journey. Essentially, he's saying it's inevitable now. It's time for you to go you've gone as far as you can go with that. Some of you have gone as far as you can go with what you already know or been taught to believe. And this is why it starts to look like depression. It starts to look like impotence in your life. It starts to look like breakdowns because you've gone as far as you can go with that. It's time for you to get another set of skills right now. And so when Morpheus met up with Neo, he had to let him make a choice. Which pill are you going to take? You get the choice. Take the blue pill, you go back to your bedroom, you forget, this never happened. Take the red pill, you wake up, you see how far the rabbit hole goes. And that's exactly what he did. And Sophia Stewart says the entire movie, the Matrix represents the womb. And therefore, if it's the womb and a person has already been born, then what is that, baby? That's rebirth. You must be born again.
Again, yes.
But we've been taught that to be born again is to go and let somebody dip you in some water and you confess that Jesus is your personal Savior. But what happens after that? You must, Nicodemus says, shall I enter into my mother's womb? Well, no, Nicodemus, that's baby food reality. Yes, but yes, Nicodemus, you must enter into the cosmic womb where you came from. Yeah, and not just enter it one time. And this is why we go into meditation. Most of you all don't pray and you don't meditate daily. And that is the rebirth. Is to be born again, is to close your eyes and go into the triple darkness of the womb behind your eyes. That is the real life. That is the true life. This is the life that we have projected onto this holographic universe. And this is why if you want to heal your life, you must change your projections. People are not out to get you like we think. Money is not the root of all evil, because then we're saying that energy is evil, but then now you got to know what evil really is, because it is another one of those codes that has been spelled backwards, which means lived. Many of us have not lived. We've been taught how to die, but we have not been taught how to live.
So true.
Wow.
All right. Anyone else have something that woke up in their spirit this morning? I'm not used to a quiet call because I'm used to those of you who are engaging with this work on some level.
Reverend Latanya. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Reverend Latanya.
Okay. I was just wanting to share and just give a test to Rafaela. And since I've been back in the States a year, and going through the rebirth is so real, and I know that now Spirit have just kept telling me that the journey that I am supposed to take on or taking on now is something new for me, and my mind cannot comprehend it. So, the old way, I'm used to always trying to figure stuff out and map things out. And the way things have been manifesting for me, where it's more Spirit have been leading them to manifest. So I started meditating, and it's been pushing me to go to a deeper level into the womb to birth something out that I'm not even familiar with, because it's new for me and only my soul could comprehend it. That makes sense. So it's really been making me, I literally just have started over again and moving and so much more. And I just wanted to share that because I've been listening on and off this morning, and it definitely resonated with me. And that's it.
Ashe. Thank you so much for sharing that. Thank you. Anyone else? One more this time. For one more.
Reverend Latanya. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is Danny, and I just want to say thank you for mentioning the Gnostic Gospels again. I grew up a Christian household. I know I'm the one that's breaking the cycle in my family. I remember when I was a teenager, I had a Bible that had those in there, and I went to my parents and, preachers and everything. I said, what is this? They're like, no, don't read that. That's not part of the Bible that we read, And I remember my Bible with those Gnostic Gospels disappearing on me. But I was so interested on this other readings of Jesus that, it mentions him. So you reminded me, because I thought about this Bible that I had as a child that was disappeared on me. I thought about it sometime this week, and I told myself I wanted
to get the Gnostic Gospels again so I could just, in my experience in God outside of how I was taught to, experience him, I wanted to, what else did the light worker say? Thank you for that reminder, because now I'm going to find it and look it up.
But see, that's the law of correspondence. That was within you. But let me tell you, let's go real deep with this thing for you in your case. That was not an accident. If you saw that, something in your spirit noted that. Now here you are in this vibrating in this space. Now I teach on the law of correspondence. You now corresponded with a memory, and each and every one of you on this call can do this. You could look and remember something on your journey. It may have been a parent. It may have been an auntie, the weird one. I'm probably the weird. They call me the eccentric one in the family. But, baby, I tell them to do things, and 5 years later they finally catch up to it. I was the first one to go natural. I was bougie, And then I was the first one to stop eating a certain way. She's so special. But now all of them changing their diet, going natural, buying Carol's daughter. See, you got to be willing. You got to be willing to be who you are, even when your family is looking at you like you crazy. Because you got to know, Danny brought up something good. You've had that experience. But on a soul level, you've been here before. You've been here before. You've already done this. You have an ancient connection with yourself somewhere. And the journey here is just to remember. Remember who you already were. And remind the people around you through your work, through your love. And your work doesn't mean a microphone. It doesn't mean you got to be a coach. It don't mean you got to do it. No. Where are you right? Where has God assigned you? God in you, as you, through you. Where have you assigned you? Some of you all are showing up half-assed where you have been assigned because you don't see it as an assignment. You see it as a survival place. But you got to make a decision to be a light into the darkness. There can't be light without darkness. So, thank you for that. Woo! That's why I love, because we build together. We build in this space together, honey. We build together. All right. So we're getting close to the time. I want to introduce a new prayer to you all. It might not be new for some of you, particularly if you have done any work with Queen Afua, but it's from the papyrus of Ari of the Nile Valley in ancient Kemet. Kemet is not even spelled. You all know that when you look at the words that we've been taught, this whole thing with vowels and stuff, vowels is something that is rather new. So Egypt is really Kemet, and Kemet is not even spelled K-E-M, which is, Kim. Kim also has some roots of the black substance that when we look at Kim, but Kemet is not just spelled K-E-M-T-I-C or any of the versions that we've seen, it's spelled K-M-T. If we must have something in English that looks like it. But at this point, I know that some of us only know our bloodline, but I want you to just take a breath in through your nose and out of your mouth. And some of us don't know the names in our bloodline. Some of us are seeking Ancestry.com and things like that. But I propose to you that there is a knowing, and you begin to tell yourself that you know. And you ask your ancestors to show themselves to you. That's all you have to do. Set out a little plate for them when you are making your food this morning. That's for the ancestors, and light a candle. This is also self-care. Take another breath See, feel, and imagine see, feel, and imagine. See, feel, and imagine yourself as a goddess, as the queen, with the balance of a kingship. See, feel, and imagine yourself in the scene of something like Coming to America, Black Panther, ceremony. See, feel, and imagine you working with sacred plants. See, feel, and imagine you in the wind being able to shape shift. And when the winds move, when you speak, like Oya, the goddess Oya, the who governs the wind. See, feel, and imagine that you can close your eyes and communicate with your children who are playing on the other side of the pyramid. You don't have to raise your voice to raise your children. All you have to do is communicate telepathically. See, feel, and imagine that there is abundance, that the animals are not adversarial, that the animals live in peace with you. Oh, yes, this was a time, this is not made up. And the more we begin to go beyond the pain of slavery, the pain of betrayal in our experience, the more we'll call it forth in the density of this planet that we're living on right now. In this space, begin to speak the names of your ancestors and any guides that govern you. Speak them into this space right now.
Stanley Brown.
Ashe. 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 Ashe.
Mama Hawkins, Moses Sandy,
Ashe, Josie B. Taylor, Queen Mother, Stella Tankston, Priscilla Noble, the Noble, the Nashes, the Breckenridge, the Taylor, the Tankston, all of the Queen Mothers. Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. I'm going to pray now, and I want you all to begin to repeat this prayer after me. I'm gonna go into where after we do this into another prayer, but I want you to be able to hear these words. This is from the prayer, I am healer. I am the woman who lightens the darkness. Repeat it.
I am the woman who lightens the darkness.
I've come to lighten the darkness.
I've come to lighten the darkness.
It is lightened. I have overcome the destroyers.
I have overcome the destroyers.
I am there for those who weep.
I am there
for those who weep. Who hid their faces. Who hid their faces. Who sunk down. They looked upon me then. I am a woman.
I am a woman.
I am a healer.
I am a healer.
Thank you, ladies. Mother, Father, God, Holy Spirit, all that is, all that ever has been, all that ever will be. We are the eachness of the allness of the holy I am presence. We are one with the holy I am presence, affirming that I am that I am. I am the woman who lightens the darkness. I have come to lighten the darkness. It is lightened. I have overcome the destroyers. I am there for those who weep. who hid their faces, who sunk down, who looked upon me then. I am a woman. I am a healer. I am the temple. I am the shrine. I am the mosque. I am the church. I am the cathedral. I am the altar. I am the holy land. I am the sacred ground. I am that I am, a shining being dwelling in light, and I come from the limbs of the divine. May I be protected with 70 purifications. I purify myself at the galaxy, and that which is wrong within me and on the earth are washed away. I come that I might purify myself in the most high degree. I am available to the Holy Spirit that is me, the holy I am presence. I am available to rise to the occasion that this inner call is beckoning and calling me forth, to be able to move beyond survival, move beyond not enough, move beyond less than, unworthy, to move beyond the repetitious stories that no longer serve to take us higher, to raise up those who are ready to rise with us, and to let those who want to stay where they are, bless them where they are. We thank you, Holy Spirit, right here, right now, that we are the ones that we have been waiting for, and we are well able. The word says that we are more than an overcomer, that we are overcome by the word of our own testimony. So those of us who have been tested, we have a testimony, and if not, we are creating one. And I give thanks for each and every sister on this call and everyone that is attached to her womb, and the womb that she is attached to, and the womb that she was attached to before then, and the womb that was attached to before then, and the womb before then, and the womb before then, and the womb of the great cosmic mother, that we are now walking in the awareness that the mothers are awakening. The daughters are listening to the mothers again, turning their hearts to their mothers. Help each and every woman who has had any disappointing experience with their mother to be healed so that she can find peace within herself again. Let each and every woman who has had any breakdown with her father, that she can experience protection knowing that she is safe, that there is nothing to fear in herself again. Let the yin and the yang work together for her good. Let love be the instrument of neither height nor depth, or nothing can separate us from the love of God that is within us, around us, and through us. And so we let it be so, and so it is. Ashe. All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining me this morning. We will be here at the same place and the same time. We do have a session of of the Juicy You. Only for those who are on this call. If you want to come into this session, you can come in. There's a payment plan, and you must book your one-on-one appointment by tomorrow in order. So I'm only giving grace to those on this call. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'll see you on the other side.
Thank you.